Caught my eyes this new product here. Emery's created a redesigned
a new power tap.
Yeah, power tap.
So if you plug it in correctly, it'll power your accessory.
Okay.
Light will turn off after 15 seconds. If everything's okay, it'll turn off and like nothing happened.
Okay.
If you plug it in incorrectly, you've already blew up your accessory by now.
Okay.
But with this connector, it'll just sit there and flash red until you fix the condition.
And I guess the plug is technically not symmetrical though, right? How do you plug it in?
It has a D shape to it.
Yeah.
But it's all too easy to plug in backwards anyway.
So it's just like with enough force or enough wear?
It's not defined enough.
Okay, fair enough.
Well, it's a 25-year-old connector, and it was used to be used on light bulbs. So if you plugged it in backwards, it really didn't matter.
Oh,
That's
okay.
the genesis of the connector.
I see. And so I guess price point, or who are you selling this to?
Well, it depends. And when it goes in the upper 100 quantities or so, you can get them around $50.
Okay.
But that pales in comparison to the $500 or $1,000 damage you'll do to your accessories the minute you blow it up.
Right.
And it happens a lot. Our friends over at Banpro, they just tell us a story. A couple of weeks ago, they had a servo motor on a very expensive lens blow up twice.
Oh, wow.
Each time was $2,000.
And was that directly related to
It's plugged in backwards. Usually happens when they're in a rush, they're in a hurry, they're working in the dark. Usually in those cases, that's what happens.
Okay. And I guess this connector itself, is this is it an electronic function that prevents it from?
It's got it's a 2.5-year R&D project. It's the first ever kind of connector that actually has a computer in it.
Okay.
So it's running a very elaborate program.
So the regular DTAP is just a physical connector.
It's got nothing in it. So it's running a very elaborate program, and but the insertion losses of the connector between the accessory and the battery are virtually non-existent. So it's transparent to the whole setup.
Okay.
It's not that this is consuming a lot by doing its work. It's a lot of thought and engineering went into it to make sure that it does its function extremely well.
Right.
And it's entirely a Canadian design.
Okay, cool. Again, back to the question of how to get a hold of cables with this. Do we have to build our own cables?
You can either build your own, or we make a whole list of them that already have it on there.
So you're looking over this way.
Many other people, for instance, one of our big sellers is I can show you this.
Sure.
This is one of our big guys are always using their phones on set. They're surrounded by batteries and they can't charge their phones. So they just plug this into the back of the battery, and then they charge their phones on set.
Oh, okay.
All right, so that's another use of the connector.
Right.
But yeah, typically rental houses will buy a lot of them. Some rental houses here in Germany have entirely converted all their PTAP inventory to Safetaps because they've just had so much damage over the years. It's just not worth it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, Emery, thank you.
You're welcome.